ODM XXL sticker casing and machine. Here we're just going to go over a general overview of operational points on the glue pots and our new vacuum cover guide on the machine. Like the regular sticker, the XXL glue pots are primarily the same. It has grooves in the main glue roller, which helps to spread the glue evenly on the end sheets. The XXL model has removable handles which help the operator transport the glue pots to the wash-up sink each day. These can be removed when running the machine, and then when you go to clean up at the end of the day, you can put these back on. Couple things here to understand how the glue pots work is we have an extra paste attachment on the glue pot rollers, which can be seen here. This is a locking handle where I can move this bracket on and off impression. One of the biggest mistakes that people do on the machine is they don't understand the extra paste attachment and how it works. One thing that you can do daily to make sure that you do everything correctly is when you add glue to the machine, make sure this bracket is loose and off impression off this ball knob on the guard. What you would do is you would put glue in the machine, then you would adjust your glue knobs where you get a fine glue coating. Then what you would do is, depending on how much extra paste you want, you would unloosen this knob and move this accordingly, and you'll be able to see it once I have glue in the machine, which I'll show you in a second. What happens too many times is people have the extra paste attachment on, and then they put glue in the machine, and then they cut down the glue rollers. And that's what happens is you get premature wear of the glue rollers, which I'll go over in a second, which you'll visually be able to see once glue's in the machine. Biggest point that you have to remember is when you put glue in the machine daily, just make sure that this is off impression. And that's really all you need to know. And I'm gonna put glue in the machine right now. When you go to adjust the glue pots, the glue coating, you have locking black knobs, which are on either side. You just unloosen them. Since there's no calibrated setting on the amount of glue you're putting on the rollers, it's simply a visual setting.
You just zoom into those.
Now, one thing you don't want to do is have too much glue on the rollers because there's a potential of getting glue squeeze out. So you always want to try to put down as fine a glue coating as possible. And if you look closely on the glue rollers right now, when you adjust the glue rollers, there's no way to calibrate it off the knobs. It's simply just a visual setting. This is what your glue roller should look like once you put glue in. And remember, keep in mind, you want this extra paste off, okay? That's very, very important. Put glue in the machine, adjust your fine glue coating. What happens now, if you're using books to have end sheets, to have a cloth up in the hinge area, you want to put more glue up in the joint area. And in order to do that, you can move your extra paste attachment. Watch what happens when I hit the handle. You can see the extra bead of glue that transfers around the glue roller. And again, we have 5 notches on the extra paste bar here, and you can adjust that accordingly to whichever type of end sheet you're using. But that is very, very important to understand how the extra paste works, because too many times people have the extra paste on, which causes the glue rollers to fully open up. And then if you put glue in the morning, if you put glue in the machine in the morning, now that the glue rollers are opened up, people over adjust the glue rollers so they're touching each other. So then what happens is when the machine cycles, the extra paste goes off impression here and it further pushes the rollers together, and that's when you get wear on the ends of the rollers. But this visually is the amount of glue that you want to have on your machine. And again, if I want to set this, let's say at my third notch for extra paste, watch what happens on the glue rollers. You can see an extra volume of glue. Now keep in mind that extra volume of glue is only going to be placed on the book block about an inch down from the binding edge. When we assemble these machines, our machine operators, how they test the glue coverage on books is we use black books, so they can see the glue coating, and I'm going to demonstrate here so you can see how nice a glue coating you can get. Keep in mind, right now we aren't using extra paste, so you'll see a full glue coating on the book block. You can see you should get a nice, even glue coating. There's no messy glue squeeze out. I'm going to demonstrate the extra paste. I'm going to put it on about the fourth notch. The block here shows the extra paste, and you can see the extra volume of glue you get. And again, I have a lot of extra paste on here. Typically, you would probably have that on the second notch or so. And keep in mind right here, on your end sheets you're using cloth. That's the only time you want to use the extra paste. If you don't have any cloth up here on your end sheet, there's really no reason to use the extra paste. One of the toughest things to do during casing in is putting a cover on a thin book block. And one of the new features on the XXL casing in machine is our vacuum cover guide. How the vacuum cover guide works is we have two back plates. We have a suction center bar, and we have adjustable suction cups depending on the size of your cover. These could be adjusted accordingly. In order to get the necessary book squares on your books, we have two gray guides.
Okay.
So when you put your book on the wing, you would put it up against the gray guides. These gray guides behind the black plate are shims that you could put in there. If you want to increase your book squares, what you would do is remove those shims out, and if you want to decrease your book squares, you would add shims in the back. One thing to keep in mind, anytime you add or remove shims, there's 3 socket head, flathead cap screws. You don't want to over tighten these, because these can strip very easily. There's no reason to over tighten them. So in order to take the shims out or to replace the gray guides, 3 screws on each side. The vacuum pump on the vacuum guide is mounted on the rear of the machine. Operations would be to take your book block and you split it roughly in the middle. You place it on the wing up against the gray offset guides. You take your cover. The only thing you have to remember is putting the orientation of your cover on properly. And what we're doing is we're simply going to visually line this up. I'm right now eyeballing it in the center. We have adjustable stops that you can mount on either side. I find it's easy just to eyeball the spine with the center. One other thing we have on the machine that's a nice feature is if I ever want to, depending on if you're doing a perfect bound book or a sewn book, okay, you're going to want to raise or lower the cover guide on how the cover comes down. We have a quick adjustment here. By turning this knob, I could raise or lower this, so it's an on-the-fly adjustment that's very nice. Also in the rear, you'll see we have 3 control valves. One controls suction for this side, one for this side, and the center controls suction for the middle bar. The only other thing we have on here is you need to shut the vacuum off as you're placing the cover down on your book. And we have a foot pedal that's mounted on the base of the machine frame. So you can see this shuts off the vacuum. It's a little difficult to operate now being on the skid, but you would mount this however you want on the floor to the operator's comfort. So all I do is I take my cover, lining it right in the middle. Now you can either keep this in the up position or you can keep this in the down position. It doesn't really make a difference. Place it down, grab my cover, hit the foot pedal. I simply lay it down. And it's that easy.